Okay, I just want to show you a couple of things before we start to look at the programming of the DigiSet. What I'm going to do right now is, let me just hold this up for a second, and I'll just show you something. I'm going to turn the heater switch on, and now I'm getting my initial charge for probless. I've got it set for 10 seconds, so that's it for my initial charge. Now, what I want to show you, if I turn on my voltmeter, I set it on volts, I'm going to go to my detergent signal right here, and you'll see that I have constant power. Okay? And that's going to stay on all the time. That's my initial charge signal. Now, it's important for you to understand that that signal must remain on. So if this dish machine stays running for 3 hours, that signal will be on for 3 hours. Because if I go over here now and shut the heater off, okay, and I'll flip my box closed again so you can see what's going to happen. And now I'm going to turn it back on again. I'm going to go through another initial charge. So I don't want that to happen. I only want this machine to initial charge when I fill it up with fresh water. So that means that anytime I'm hooking up, whether it's this machine, it could be a door machine that doesn't have automatic fill, it could be somebody else's conveyor other than Hobart. The important thing for you to understand today is that that initial charge feature, when it comes on, that signal stays on. And the easiest place to get that from any dish machine is the secondary side of the heat switch, or if there's an on light on the machine that's on all the time that the machine is either running or waiting to run, that's a great place to take a signal. So every time they drain the machine, they shut that switch off. They drain it, they clean it, they turn the machine back on, or they fill the machine up with water, they flip the switch on, and we get our initial charge. Now if I go inside this control box, I'm going to turn on my password, and I'm going to start to go through my menu. And we've seen all this before. Now you can see I'm set in probeless as opposed to probe. And my initial detergent charge is 10 seconds. Now I can set that for whatever I want. I've set it for 10 seconds for the point of this demonstration. But what you need to keep in mind is you know that this particular machine holds 33 gallons of water. So if I wanted to titrate this machine for, let's say, 1/4 ounce per gallon, and I know that the flow rate of my pump is approximately 8 ounces per minute with water, or 0.13 ounces per second, and I want to titrate at 1/4 ounce per gallon, then I can calculate the amount of time I need to make this pump run to get the correct amount of chemical into the dish machine. And adversely, when I get to the recharge, I'll be able to do the same thing. So we'll have a look at that as well. So I've got this set at 10 seconds, but it might need to be at 20, 30, 40 seconds. That depends on how much soap you need to put into the machine and how big the wash tank is. My recharge time I have set at 3 seconds. At 0.13 ounces per second, that would mean that every time a rack went through here, and I've got it set for 17 seconds, that means that 0.39 ounces, if I was using a water-like compound, would go into the machine. So again, you need to set that recharge for the correct amount as well. Now, I can set my recharge to go after 1 rack or as many racks as I decide. I'm going to do it at 1 rack because I think that it's best to chart. You want to bring the chemical concentration up so it stays nice and consistent all the time that it's running. And if I go to the next setting that I need to make an adjustment at, which is my rinse time, okay, or my rack time is very, very important as well, because after the machine collects 17 seconds of rinse time, it's automatically going to go into a recharge. So if you set your rack time incorrectly, for example, if you set it for half of what it really is, then it's going to recharge twice as much as you want it to. So you need to understand that when this rinse paddle closes, when it collects 17 seconds of time, it's going to recharge for the 3 seconds that I have it set for. We can adjust this to whatever it needs to be. I'll leave it at 17 because that's what this one is set at. Now, on a door machine, you could hook it up exactly the same way and do the same electrical hookup using a heat switch and so on, except in door mode, it would go off every rinse cycle, so there's no option of rinse time or rack time. So those are all the settings I need to make inside the control. I'm just going to hold this button down and get out of the system. So let's run this and see what happens. And I'm just going to take you through the theory of operation. So what's going to happen is I've turned my heat off. I've opened my drain. The customer takes the machine apart and cleans the machine, puts the arms back together, recloses the drain, turns the fill valve on to fill the machine with water. Once the machine is filled with water, he is going to turn on, or she is going to turn on the heat switch. When the heat switch is turned on, my initial charge is going to come on. So let's try that and see what happens. Now this is my 10 seconds of initial charge that I have set. I would guess in this machine, this pump would probably have to run for somewhere in the vicinity of 55 to 70 seconds normally for something like that. Now I'm ready to go. So the customer is ready to run the machine. I turn on the switch to start the dishwasher. I take a rack and I put it inside the machine. It feeds through the machine and comes to this end. It's going to depress this paddle. When this paddle depresses, my rinse pump is going to start. Notice there's no detergent recharge. That's because I have to collect 17 seconds. So as I hold my rinse paddle in, as the rack would, as it's going through the machine, there goes my recharge. If I continue to hold it, so if I'm running trains of racks, one after another, then every 17 seconds, I'm going to get my recharge of chemical. But regardless of whether the machine is on, or as many times as I turn the machine on and off, I won't get another initial charge.